Number 1, I call Douglas Ross.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. A week ago, I lodged the Scottish Conservative vote of no confidence that forced Humza Yousaf to resign in disgrace. This could very well be his final FMQs as First Minister. Humza Yousaf's replacement must focus on what really matters to Scotland. They have to forget about independence and prioritise growing our economy, creating jobs, improving public services. John Swinney did the opposite of all of these things in government, and his leadership campaign slogan, unveiled this morning, is uniting for independence. All he offers...
Members, let's hear Mr Ross. Members,
I'm very grateful for that party election broadcast we will be using in the days, weeks and months to come, because all he offers is more of the same nationalist obsession that has damaged Scotland for a decade, and they are laughing and applauding that. He is fixated on independence, not the things that really matter. Doesn't uniting for independence just mean more division for Scotland?
First Minister.
No, it doesn't, Presiding Officer. Let me say to Douglas Ross, of course he has every right and prerogative to gloat about the position that I am in, and of course made that statement on Monday. The only exception I would take to Douglas Ross is, no, I don't feel disgraced at all. I'm very proud of the fact that I became the first person of colour to be the First Minister, the very first Muslim leader of a Western nation, the youngest First Minister to ever serve in 25 years of devolution. And most of all, I'm proud to have served my government, this government, my country, for 12 years on the front benches. Did I get everything right? Absolutely not. And that is very evident and very clear. But can I be proud of this government's record? Absolutely. And let me just talk about the government's record, because Douglas Ross will do his best in the next few questions to talk about personalities as opposed to talk about policies. And why would he want to do that, Presiding Officer? Because when it comes to our policies, the SNP, of course, is the party of free university education. We're the party that abolished prescription charges. We're the party of free personal and nursing care. We're the party of free bus travel for those who are under 22, over 60, those with a disability. We're the party of free school meals, the party of the baby box, the party of free childcare. And what about the Conservatives, Presiding Officer? They are the party of Windrush. They're the party of bankers' bonuses. They're the party of austerity, the party of Brexit, the party of the two-child limit, the party of Boris Johnson, the party of Liz Truss, the party of the cost of living crisis. So with such an abysmal record, no wonder the leader of the nasty party wants to talk about personalities and not policies.
Douglas Ross.
I mean, my criticism of the government was mainly brought on by John Swinney's comments today that says everything's so bad he's got to run for the leadership. And just when John Swinney thought he was out, they pull him back in, because literally there is nobody else. The SNP's man for the future is their failed leader from the past, from one continuity candidate to another. John Swinney was Nicola Sturgeon's human shield. He masterminded the deal with the extremist Greens. For 16 out of the 17 years of SNP government, John Swinney sat round the cabinet table. His fingerprints are all over their most toxic policies. How will going back to the future get the SNP out of the mess that they're in?
First Minister.
Has Douglas Ross never stopped to reflect that for all that he said about John Swinney, of course, John Swinney and, of course, my colleague Kate Forbes are both more popular than Douglas Ross, Presiding Officer. And Douglas Ross seems absolutely determined to talk about personalities. So let me remind him about the personalities he associates himself with. Douglas Ross served in Boris Johnson's government. He called Boris Johnson an honest man. Yeah. That would be the Boris Johnson who was not only the architect of a damaging hard Brexit, but Boris Johnson allegedly said to COVID victims, let the bodies pile up high. Douglas Ross then went on to not only support Liz Truss to the hilt, he demanded that we copy Liz Truss's disastrous tax plans. Those, of course, were tax plans that utterly annihilated the economy. And that is the Liz Truss who's now engaging in hard-right conspiracies about the deep state. You can judge a man, presiding officer, you can judge a man by the company he keeps. And Douglas Ross's company is Boris Johnson, the Conservative Party of Liz Truss, of Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, formerly Lee Anderson, Mark Menzies, Peter Bone, Chris Pincher, Andrew Bridgen, Frank Hester, and I can see Douglas Ross looking more and more embarrassed. And let me say, that is the company he keeps. I'm very proud of John Swinney, Kate Forbes and all of the company that I keep, presiding officer.